My name is Ethan, and this happened when I was 12 on what was supposed to be a final glorious father-son camping trip before my parents' divorce was finalized. We chose the Pine Ridge Loop, a moderately challenging 20-mile trail through a dense mountainous state park. It was just me and my dad, trying to hold on to something that was already gone. On the second afternoon, as we navigated a particularly lonely stretch of the trail, we first heard the whistling. It was a specific, piercing tune, the first 7 notes of Pop Goes the Weasel. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Then it would stop before the pop. It was coming from somewhere behind us, off the path in the thick brush. We shrugged it off. Another hiker, we thought, maybe a bit odd. We picked up our pace, but the whistling kept pace. For an hour, it shadowed us, always that same unfinished tune, never getting closer but never falling behind. My dad, a normally stoic man, grew tense. He called out a few times. "Hello, we're on the trail here." The whistling would stop for 10 minutes, then resume. As dusk approached, we reached a designated campsite by a creek. The whistling had stopped about 30 minutes prior. Relief washed over us. We set up our tent, built a fire, and started cooking beans. That's when we saw him. Across the creek, maybe 50 yards away, a man stood perfectly still between 2 pine trees. He was tall, gaunt, wearing dark, tattered clothing. He wasn't looking at the scenery. He was staring directly at our fire. "Let's turn in," my dad said quietly, his voice tight. We doused the fire and crawled into our 2-man tent, zipping it shut. The fear was a physical thing, cold and heavy in the small space. We lay there in the dark, listening to the creek. Then we heard it. Footsteps, slow, deliberate crunches on the gravel bank of our side of the creek. They circled our tent once, slowly. Then they stopped right by the tent flap. The smell hit us next, a foul, coppery odor, like old blood and damp earth. And then the whistling started again, right outside the thin nylon wall. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Silence where the pop should be. I buried my face in my dad's chest, trembling. My dad had his hunting knife in his hand, its outline visible in the faint moonlight filtering through the fabric. The man whistled that broken tune for what felt like an eternity before the footsteps finally crunched away, fading into the woods.
We didn't sleep a wink. At the first gray light of dawn, we packed our gear in frantic silence and hit the trail at a near jog. The plan was to get to the ranger station at the trail's end, 8 miles away. For the first 2 hours, all was quiet. The normal sounds of the forest returned. We started to feel foolish, imagining we'd let our paranoia get the best of us. That illusion shattered when we reached the Black Rock Pass, a narrow ledge with a steep drop on one side. Someone had been there before us. In the middle of the path, arranged in a deliberate line, were 3 small, crude figures made of twisted sticks and forest vines. They were unmistakably human-shaped, and lying beside them was my dad's lost bandana, the one he'd thought had blown away the previous morning. It was stained with dark, dirty patches. He wasn't just following us, he was playing with us. Panic truly set in then. We ran. The trail became a blur of green and brown. The whistling started again, but this time it was different. It was ahead of us, then to our left. It was everywhere, echoing through the trees, disorienting us. Up, down, up, down, up, down. We missed a trail marker, taking a steeper, rougher path downward. We were lost. Exhausted, we stumbled into a small, abandoned hunting shelter, a 3-sided wooden lean-to. It was our only option. As night fell again, we huddled in the farthest corner. My dad gave me the knife. "If he comes in, if I can't stop him, you use this. Don't hesitate." The weight of the knife in my hand was the worst thing I'd ever felt. The woods fell silent. No crickets, no owls. Just a thick, waiting silence. Then the footsteps. He wasn't trying to be stealthy now. Crunch, crunch, crunch. He walked right up to the open side of the shelter. We could see his silhouette against the slightly lighter darkness of the night sky. He stood there, smelling of that same metallic rot. He tilted his head, as if studying prey in a trap. He began to whistle. Up, down, up, down, up, down. This time, he took a slow, rattling breath to complete the tune. He whispered the last word, a dry, husky sound that slithered through the dark. Pop.
My dad launched himself forward with a raw shout, more of a scream of terror and rage than anything else. He didn't go for the man with the knife, he just barreled into him, a full-body tackle that took them both sprawling out of the shelter and into the dirt. It was a chaos of grunts, thuds, and snapping twigs. I stood frozen, clutching the knife, sobbing. I heard my dad cry out in pain, then a horrible wet thud. A silence, a gurgle. The rustling stopped. The gaunt man appeared back at the entrance of the shelter. He was breathing heavily. In the dim light, I saw a dark, slick substance covering his hands and the lower part of his face. He looked at me. He didn't whistle. He didn't move. He just stared, as if deciding what to do next. Something in me broke. I didn't charge him. I didn't scream. I just started walking forward, the knife held out in front of me with both shaking hands. A low, continuous moan was coming from my throat. I walked straight toward him, my vision blurry with tears. He seemed surprised by this. He took a single step back from the shelter's entrance. I kept walking. He retreated another step into the trees. I stepped out of the shelter, my eyes locked on his shadowy form. I took another step forward. He faded back another step. For 10 minutes, in a deadly, silent dance, I walked slowly toward him, and he slowly retreated. I had no plan. I was a ghost, propelled by sheer broken will. I just knew I couldn't stop moving. Finally, he stopped backing away. He tilted his head again. He brought his dirty hands up to his mouth. Very softly, he whistled the first note. Up. Then he turned and melted into the black forest. I stood there until the sun began to rise. When the light was strong enough, I found my dad. I won't describe what I saw. I took the satellite emergency beacon from his pack, activated it, and sat next to him until the chopper came. The Rangers found the man's camp a mile from the shelter. There were bones, clothing that didn't belong to hikers, and dozens of those little stick figures. They never found him. They told me we'd likely stumbled into the territory of a hermit who had severely deteriorated mental faculties. But I know what he was. I know the game he was playing, and every single time I hear a child's music box or someone absent-mindedly hums a tune, my blood freezes. I wait for the 7th note, and I am forever, forever waiting for the pop that I know is meant for me.